Hello everybody out there on YouTube, and welcome to race number 33 of Season 2 NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I'm Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the NAPA Auto Parts 200 as we return to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for the second time this season. So this is the big mystery race that I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. We're going back to a track that was one of the best road course races earlier this season, and this was here at Canadian Tire. And after today, we only have 3 races left in the season after today. But let's take a look and see how the top 5 in the points look coming into the race today. So Nelson Thornhill leads by 11 points over Chris Michaels, 13 over David Rivera, 85 over the pole sitter today, Dorian Facepuncher, and 108 over Rafael LeDuc. So some time starting to run out for a couple guys to try to gain as much points as possible to get back in the championship hunt. But let's look at the lineup. As starting in the last row is Matt McIntyre, Grayson Acevedo, top 10. Dorian Facepuncher on the pole with the defending Canadian Tire winner, Rafael LeDuc in second. Row 3, Johnny Gardner, Jonathan Zorley. Row 2, Row 3 is Paul Minnick, Chris Dollarton. Row 4, Preston Plord, DJ Curtis. And then row 5, Carson Gum and JT Bryant. But with that said, let's go ahead and get the command to fire engines for the NAPA Auto Parts 200 at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Excuse me.
Drivers, start your engines.
And there you have it. So the front row of LeDuc and Facepuncher are the 2 drivers who are desperate to try and get as many points over the top 3 as possible to get themselves back in the championship hunt. Because I get a feeling that if they don't get within 40 points within these next couple of races, they'll be mathematically eliminated or won't be mathematically eligible to win the championship. Excuse me. But the pace car pulling in the pit road, which means it is time to boogity 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 go racing. Excuse me. As that concluded lap number 1, and already I see a car on pit road. I think that might have been Preston Plord, and it looks like there's the skid marks from what had happened. But back to what I was about to say. Dorian Facepuncher leads lap number 1 and had a half a second lead over Rafael LeDuc, who's had Jonathan Zorley right on his tail for most of this race so far, or most of the first lap, and now Chris Dollarton finds himself up there in that mix as well. Oh, and David Rivera, one of the top 3 in the point standings, was involved. Chris Michaels, second in points, was in it. Jessica Sheldon, I think, yeah, that is Preston Plord right there. Nelson Thornhill was scored in 30th, so he's moved up a few spots, but that's going to help to extend the 78 points lead after something had happened with the 6, 17, 02, and 42. And two of those guys, the 6 and the 17, were the top two of the top three in the point standings. And they have immediately retired out of the race after something had happened in one of the first few corners. So right now, Dorian Facepuncher has led both laps so far with under 3/4 of a second distance over Raphael Leduc. And don't discount Raphael Leduc. Remember, back at the first time we went to Canadian Tire, way early in the season, he had to run down Nelson Thornhill within a couple laps left of the race to win this race. So don't discount the 99 just yet, even though the 62 has been pulling away just little by little. You never know what can happen. Excuse me. And now another car is damaged, and that's Charles Jackson. So it seems like there's a lot of rough racing around the back of the field. Back up here at the front, Leduc trying to figure out what he's going to have to try and do to catch back up to the 62. And you can tell that he's kind of been keeping pace with the 62. It's just 62 having that clean air up at the front has helped him to maintain a small distance. And Dorian Facepuncher is actually trying to go for win number 3 this season and the 4th win of his career in the series. The margin at the line shrunk just only by 0.02 of a second. Let's see the lap time differences. Yeah, exactly 0.02 of a second. Oh, and the points leader, Nelson Thornhill, has crashed. He and Cole Deaver have wrecked right on the final corner. So now the top 3 in the points have crashed. So that's going to be huge for the 62 and the 99. If they can stay up here up at the front, they're going to gain a lot of points on the top 3 after what just happened. But speaking of Leduc, he's got a challenger again, being Jonathan Zorling, as Zorling's trying to figure out how to get around the 99, and he's been kind of back and forth and catching him and losing him so far in the early going of this event. Dorian Facepuncher, I can definitely tell, has now pulled away from the 99. It seems like the 99 either just isn't as fast as the 62, or he could be trying to play it safe and conserve. Oh, he got off track. Careful, Duke. Wow, I don't know how he didn't hit that pit wall. Wow, that was a close call. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he got loose in the middle of the turn and just caused him to go sideways off the track, but what a save by the 99. Near disaster, nearly hitting the edge of that pit wall, and is still going strong in second place, as Zorling actually nearly hit the tire wall and has fallen back to 4th now, as we got a big battle going on for the 5th spot. Johnny Gardner hasn't, but the rookie Ashland Boyd wants to spot. And if I recall, for Season 3, Ashland Boyd will be back in the 10 car. So he's trying to get some strong runs before going into that ride again for next season. Looking around the field to see what all is going down. Look at Tim Fiegel. He's actually went off track a couple times, and he's got a slight buckle on his hood, so he could have been a cause of a couple of different incidents in the race. I was looking around to see if anybody else is wrecked, and nobody else has crashed. But yeah, Dorian Facepuncher now has a big lead over the 99 after something that went wrong with the 99 to cause him to nearly crash. So now it's a 2.25 second lead the 62 has over the 99. As we continue to look around the field to see what all is happening as far as cars that may end up wrecking or won't wreck. As this fight for the 5th position has now grown to 3 cars, Paul Minnick is now right behind the 10 of Ashwin Boyd, who the 10 is behind the 15. So they're all trying to fight it out for some positions. And then meanwhile, you got Dollarton and Zorline fighting it out for the 3rd spot. This is a great run going for Chris Dollarton, who will still be with Young Motorsports next season. And I don't remember if he's going to stay in the 23 or if he's going to move to a different number. But he still will be a part of Young Motorsports next season, as now the 5's trying to figure out a way around the 23, but he's just not really able to make it happen. Whoa, and nearly some contact between the two, so that could have been very, very disastrous if they weren't careful. Oh, and more cars. Grayson Acevedo, Tim Fiegel have crashed. And then somebody else is on pit road. Phil Parker's been involved. Oh, and Tim Fiegel hit the pit wall. Hard impact for that car. As meanwhile, we're past the halfway point, and Dorian Facepuncher has a 2.5-second lead over the 99 of Rafael Leduc. And right now, the main battle happening is for 3rd between Dollarton and Zorline. As Jonathan Zorline's still trying to figure out a way around the 23, but he just hasn't been able to figure out what he has to do. Or what it is he has to do. Meanwhile, we got a battle going on for the, looks like the 9th position between Austin LaPlante and PJ Williams. LaPlante with the run, little door bang from the 48 into the 18, but manages to get on by. So good move by the 48 to try and move up the field. And Ashwin Boyd gets off the track and is going to lose a couple spots after battling with the 15 and the 26 for a while. As meanwhile, Dollarton trying to pull away from the 5, but the 5 is still right there on the back bumper of the 23, and little by little they're actually catching Rafael Leduc, so this could turn into a potential 3-car battle for 2nd. And this is exactly what Dorian Facepuncher likes, is to see them fight so he can keep pulling away and try and win this race in dominating fashion. Rafael Leduc gets off into the grass. As meanwhile, the 5 and the 23 still fight it out for the 3rd spot. Zorline's right there to the back bumper. He just needs to figure out what timing he's going to have to rely on to make a move for that spot. As he's still right on the back bumper, and he thought about going on the outside but couldn't quite make it stick. But he's still right there to him. As the margin in the top 2 and more cars wreck. Oh, and that was 2 of the top 5 in the field. Gardner and Minnick, I believe. Yeah, Paul Minnick, Johnny Gardner have wrecked. So that actually opened up the door for more drivers to get in the top 5. Man, a lot of different incidents have been happening so far in this race. We only have 10 cars are out of the race after everything that has been happening, including the top 3 in points, the points leader, 2nd in points, and 3rd in points, Thornhill, Michaels, Rivera. As now this battle between Dollarton and Zorline has expanded to a 3-car fight for the 2nd position, as they are catching up to Rafael Leduc pretty quickly, although right there they just lost some time because Leduc got to the throttle a lot faster and made the corner a lot better. But the 23 and the 5 are just fighting it out, but the 5 still not going for a move. You would think that if he tried to go for a move, he could pull away from the 23 and make some work, although he could be going for it now, as he's got a bit of... Oh, and we'll see what he does here in the final corner to come to the line. Man, I thought if he would have stayed out in the open, he maybe could have made a move, but it's 2 laps to go. Still some time left for Defy. Maybe he's just playing with the 23 and playing some mind games. You never know what some of these drivers are going to do to each other to get ahead. Dollarton got off track for a second, but he's keeping it together. As Rafael Leduc is maintaining second, but definitely has to be slightly disappointed that he's not fighting for the win, because somehow he got really loose off of the final corner and nearly tagged the pit wall and nearly destroyed his car, and because of that he's ended up losing a ton of time, as nearly a wreck happened between the 5 and the 23, and that has brought Ashland Boyd into this fight. So now it's a 3-car fight for the second position. So now this battle for third place, not second, as this has just gotten even more interesting, and now Zorline trying to fight. Oh, and he made contact with the 10 and forced the 10 up the track. And now the 10 right on the quarter panel, nearly trying to turn the 5. Imagine how crazy that would end up being, as the white flag is out. But we're going to stick with this fight for third that's happening between these 3 cars, the 23, the 5, and the 10. As we're down to 31 cars left on the track. And we're still keeping an eye on all this, but there you see Dorian Facepuncher coming in through the middle of the track to try and conclude this race. As we're also still trying to keep an eye on this fight for third with 3 cars. Although it may have just gotten expanded even more, because look at Carson Gum go with a move trying to take over 5th from Ashland Boyd. But back up here to the leader, Dorian Facepuncher started on the pole and led every single lap. All he's got to do is just make this corner and he's good to go for win number 3 this season and number 4 of his career. Coming out of the final corner, checkered flag waving, Dorian Facepuncher wins the NAPA Auto Parts 200 at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Dominating performance by the 62, and after what happened to the top 3 in the points, he's going to gain plenty of points going into next week, which will be Phoenix. But congratulations to the 62 team. And let's look at the rest of the results. Rafael Leduc may not have swept Canadian Tire, but still comes through with a great points day, finishing second. Chris Dollarton with a great run in third. Solid 4th place run for Jonathan Zorline, and a solid 5th place finish for Carson Gum. Highest finishing rookie was Ashland Boyd in the 10, finishing 6th. Austin LaPlante with a solid run in 7th. Great run in 8th for James Qualls. Solid run in 9th for PJ Williams, and a great run in 10th for JT Bryant. Rest of the top 20 was Matt Haas, Charles Sanford, DJ Curtis, Dylan Thoreau, Joshua Sekuli, Kyle Matthews, Sean Galligan, Dylan Poteet, Benjamin Miles, Dylan Young. Rest of the cars that finished the race were Mark Lane, Seth Cole, Jesse King, Trent Dunham, Emmanuel Hartnett, Matt McIntyre, Kev Shearer, Anthony McCurry, and Phil Parker. Everybody else is out of the race after all the wrecking that happened. Andrew Rich, Nathaniel Reed, Paul Minnick, Johnny Gardner, Tim Fiegel, Grayson Acevedo, Cole Deaver, Nelson Thornhill, Charles Jackson, Chris Michaels, Jessica Sheldon, David Rivera, and Preston Plord. So that does it for our coverage here today at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and now 3 races left in Season 2. Next week we head back to Phoenix for the Subway Fresh Fit 400. But until then, here are your results, rookie points, and regular points heading into Phoenix, and this is Levi McIntyre, signing off.